Good evening, everyone. Very good evening. We'll get started. Awesome. So, so far we have seen, um, what class is and objects, right? Today also we'll talk about class and objects, okay? And hopefully today we should be able to wrap up class and objects, okay? Great. Let me share my screen. Any question, do let me know, okay? You can put it in the chat and we can discuss about it, okay? Okay, just a second. Oh yeah. Sorry guys, my voice was not audible. I'll just repeat, okay, what I spoke for last 3-4 minutes. Sorry about it. Okay. So see, what I was saying is that in the last class we learned what is inheritance, right? We discussed about inheritance. Inheritance is a way where child class or the derived class, right? Child class or the derived class can call the members of parent class or the base class. This is called base class in this case, okay? We have not associated any class to it, okay? We just say class school, so this is the base class. If you take this definition, class student definition, if you take, I have added, in bracket, I have added school, right? So it shows that student is the derived class. Student is the derived class of the parent class or the base class. Okay. So student has become derived class. Okay. And we have one more class teacher, which is derived class of parent class school. Okay. So great. We have created 2 derived class and 1 base class. So last class, Saturday, we added display info here, okay, and student has display and teacher also has display. So if I call student dot display, okay, see I'm calling student dot display, even though student does not have display info, okay, it can call the parents info. That's what we see here, printing from display school. Okay, even though I'm saying derived class dot display info, derived class does not have display info. You say teacher dot display info or student dot teacher display info, it will call that base class or parent class. Okay, which is possible. So inheritance is a property which makes derived class access base class properties, both variables and methods. Okay, if the child class has its own member, okay, if the child class has its own member, okay, if child class has its own member, then the child class member will be called. Then the base class member is not called. Child class is called. If child class does not have, that's when the parent class will call. Okay, that's what we have seen till now. Now what I'm saying is I'm just extending what we learned on Saturday. Okay, we are extending what we learned on Saturday. I'm going to okay, in the teacher and the student class, I'm going to add few more attributes. Few attributes we have not added. We just created methods, okay, for demonstration purpose. Today, I'm going to add few attributes here. Okay, I'm going to add few attributes. So if you see here, students has name, age, and marks, and teachers have name, age, and salary. So since name and age are common for both student and teacher, name, age are common for both student and teacher, we can put this in the parent class or in the base class. Okay, in the base class, if you put, it is accessible to both, right? And this is the advantage of using class. You do not want to duplicate the effort. You do not want to duplicate things. Okay, we've been talking about from day one. It's all about not duplicating the work. Okay, so I have name, age here, okay, which are common for both teacher and student. If name and age both are common, why can't we declare in the parent class itself? So let's put it in the parent class. Let's put it in the parent class. Okay, okay. So that both you don't have to declare separately. We don't have to declare separately for child, and this is what you're going to do now. Okay, but see, marks is specific to student, salary is specific to student. So in this case, salary and marks, logically, we cannot put it in the parent class. Okay, we should be putting marks in the student class and salary in the teacher class. All good so far? Any questions? Did you understand what I'm trying to say? And now I've started building it. So I have school here. Okay, And since I said name and age are common for everyone, for both the classes, I have put name and age here in the init function, and I'm going to assign it to the local variable here in school. So I'm saying self.name equal to name, self.age equal to age. Okay. Self.name equal to name, self.age equal to age. Okay. Now this is in the school, remember. Okay. But we're talking about name and age from child, from this, not from child, but from student and teacher classes. Okay. But since it is common, I'm putting in the school. Okay. So name and age done. And you can display in display info, you can say my name and age are self.name and self.age. Great. Now, marks. Marks will be here. Okay. But see here. Okay. Marks will be here, but as a from the implementation perspective. Okay. If you are using this class, you should not be getting into details which class has which variable. No, I should not be creating two different objects. I should not be creating one object for school and for student. Okay, because for us, for the users, it is still student. Okay, so I'm going to call this, I'm going to call the object of class student, and I want to assign those values. Internally, student will call parent school, because the couple of members are in the school. So for the user end user perspective, there is no change. Okay, and this is what I'm going to do and show you now. So since student will have name, age, and marks, I'm going to say student self comma name, age, and marks. Name, age, and marks. And since name, age is there in the parent, so I need to call the parent in it, isn't it? So I'll say school dot underscore underscore double underscore double underscore, right? So it triple, yeah. So school dot init, okay, and I will say please take care of self. Please take care of name and age. Okay, so so as a student, you are getting all the three values. Okay, so for let's say you are doing some some business, let's say. Okay, and in what happens is, in all the business, right, not everybody will be expert in everything, isn't it? So let's say you are expert in one aspect, okay, but you have open shop or your business which will do more aspects, right? Three you have three services, but you know only one service, but you're accepting three services from your customer. So two services, you have another friend, okay, whom you are giving it. Okay, so in this case, as a student, I need three variables. Okay, so I'm taking three variables, but the first two variable, okay, name and age, is being handled by school. So I will let school handle it. Okay, I will let school handle it, and the marks which is there, I will handle it. Marks, I will handle it. Okay, great. So, okay, so name, age is there. So I'm sending name is to the school, because name and age is being handled by the school, right? And marks, I will handle it. So I'm going to say self dot marks equal to marks. Sorry, marks. Okay, so now we have marks being handled by the student. Okay, great. Now what I'll do here in display here, okay, printing display student, and since name and age is being displayed by display info, I'm going to call this, I'm going to say school dot display info. school dot display info. Okay, and since it's objects, I'll add self here. Okay, but I need to take care of the marks, isn't it? Okay. Here, instead of giving in one line, let me put it into differently. Okay, so I'm going to say print name colon self dot name. Okay, and print. Okay, age colon self dot age. Okay, printing from display school name age here, and printing from display student. Okay, so first it will print the name and age from school, and then I'll add print marks obtained. Marks. Okay, self dot marks. Great. So we have student, okay, display, and we have school. Okay, similar, same thing we'll do with teacher as well. Teacher accepts three things, right? Name, age, and salary. Okay, name, age, and salary. Name and age is being handled by the parent class, isn't it? So I'm going to say school dot init, right? School dot init. Okay, and first thing is self, isn't it? Then you have name, comma, age. Then here I will handle the salary here. Self dot salary equal to salary. Okay, printing display here, printing again. Okay, school dot display info. This is going to print name and age. Okay, see, this is the main advantage of your class. Then being parent, parent is handling the first two things, name and age. I don't have to worry about name and age here. Okay, so I have saved some code, isn't it? Name and age code I have saved. I wrote only once. Though student will also have it and teacher will also have it. Okay, so instead of putting them separately two times, once in teacher, once in student, I have put only once in parent school. Okay, now our name and age, school. Yes. So now when you create, okay, so school is simple one, right? School is simple. It's not a inheritance. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to show you how to do with student. Now student, if I run, okay, it needs three required arguments, three required positional arguments, name, age, and marks. So I'm going to say Sachin, age is, let's say, 42, and let's say marks, right? Okay, let's not make it 42, let's make it 16, and marks equal to 88. Okay, now when you run it, you have, okay, student is taken care of. Now teacher needs three attributes, name, age, and salary. So I'm going to say teacher is, let's say, Kapil, and age is, let's say, 49, and salary is, let's say, 85,000. Okay, now you see, when I say student or display info is parent display info. Even though I have not created the, the object of school, still student is able to call the display info. Display info has only two things. Okay, now if I want to display all the three, right, so instead of saying display info, I will call display. Okay, You run it and see. Name, age, and marks. You see that? Internally, it is calling parent class or the base class. Internally, it is calling the base class. Okay, school to store name and age. Okay, while printing, okay, it calls the internal base class for name and age. Okay, but for us, it doesn't matter. We just call display and it is printing. Similarly, I can create for teacher also, right? T1 dot display. Done. Okay, so if you see the output here, this is for teacher, name, age, and salary. Okay, declare it once, use it again, and again without any problem. That's the beauty of your class and objects. Okay, how's going? Yes, easy to understand. Okay, so now you know what class and objects are. You should start programming in using class and objects. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, no questions. Great. Okay, this is how inheritance is used. Okay, okay, in last over 2 days we have seen that you can create inheritance. It can be multiple or multi-level, right? Multi-level means you can have 3 relationship. Okay, I can create class called as city. Okay, and here I can have def print data, something print sample method. Okay, and I can say school connects to city. Okay, now in this case, this has become multi-level. There's one level here. If you look at city and school, city is your parent class, okay, the base class, and this is a derived class. But if you take school and student, okay, student is the derived class of school, and school becomes base class. So school is both base class as well as derived class. School is base class for student and teacher, but derived class for city. Now this one, your student object can read city, can call city, right? You have print data, right? Print data is not there in this school also. Display info is there. Print data is only in the city. Is not here or here. It's neither in the teacher or student also. But still, you can say T1 dot print data. Okay. It will call its base class of its base class. Grandfather class. I mean, we don't call grandfather, but you understand the relationship. Parents class. Okay. Base class of the base class. You can access the methods or variables like this. Okay. Clear, everyone? Hello? All can hear me, right? Okay, great. Okay, so that's the beauty of class and objects. Perfect. Thank you, Shakil. Okay. Now we'll look at one important aspect. Okay, so we saw that as a class or as a base, derived class, you can call your parent class. Right? But what if your parent class or the base class does not want to share information? Okay, does not want to share information. So, okay, it's called encapsulation. Okay, it is called encapsulation. Encapsulation means information hiding. Okay, encapsulation. Encapsulation means information hiding. Okay, parent class doesn't want to, example, parent class doesn't want to share its method with, derived class. Parent class doesn't want to share information with its derived class. Okay, so here you see you have class city. Okay, you have class city. Class city has print data, and all the way down student or teacher, right? We have used teacher is using print data, which is in the class. But let's say city says I do not want anybody else to use my method. It's only for me. So you can simply put underscore, double underscore. Okay, putting double underscore above the name, okay, method or variable will make it private. Okay, let me move in the next line. Okay, print data, underscore print data, underscore print data. Okay, putting double underscore above the name. Okay, not above, we should say in front, right? In front of the name, method or variable will make it private. Private means nobody else can access. Nobody else can access. Okay, so now if I go down here, print data, if you say underscore, this is what we did, right? We added double underscore, right? Double underscore I do. And now when you call, okay, see there's an error here. Teacher has no attribute underscore print data. Teacher has no attribute underscore print data. You can try with deleting the one underscore. Okay, you can try with deleting. Okay, you won't get it. Okay, double underscore will make it private. Double underscore will make it private, and you will not be able to call that method or variable outside. So even the child class or your derived class cannot call the parent class. Cannot call the parent class. Is it clear? Okay. With that, we complete our class and objects discussions. Okay. So encapsulation, inheritance, these are the properties, okay, of your object-oriented programming language. What we did for last 3 days is called as object-oriented programming language. Okay, we call it as object-oriented programming language. Object-oriented programming language means you need to use it using object. That means you have to create class. You have to create class, and by creating class, you have to call the you have to call the members, right? Okay. So we just completed object-oriented programming language. Okay. Let's do one example today. Okay. So we still have 20 minutes. So what we'll try to do is we'll try to use a couple of examples to see how we can, use, class and objects. Okay. So let me move this away. So I'm going to say, write a program to check if a number is prime or not. Okay, write a program to check if number is prime or not. Okay, so I'm going to create a class here, class called check prime. Okay, I'm going to say class called check prime. Okay, now this check prime, okay, check prime will have a method called is prime. Okay, I'm going to create a method is prime here. Okay, and here I'm going to check, okay, if the value, okay, is in a way, if it is so okay, I'm going to create, I'm just thinking, okay, I'm going to create, okay, I'm going to create here a variable here. Okay, so we'll have a def init. Okay, and this def init will take one value. We'll take one value which we want to check if it is prime or not. Okay, okay, it will take one value to check if it is prime or not. Okay, so I'm going to say number. Okay, so here self dot num equal to number. Okay, and I'm going to add one more variable here. Okay, is prime var, something like this, and we'll say equal to false. Okay, we are initializing the value here. So num is the input value which we will check if it is prime or not, and I'm creating is prime var, which is okay a tracking variable. Okay, so this will return false if the number is not a prime. This will turn true if the number is prime. Okay, great. So I'm going to say is prime, but we need one more function or method which will do all the calculation, isn't it? So I'm going to say def calculate prime, something like this I call it. Okay, and this will, okay, change the value of this to prime or not prime. Okay, okay, this is going to change the value here. Okay, now when you call is prime is going to call calculate prime. Is prime is going to call calculate prime. Okay, Now calculate prime is an object level function. So when we call an object variable, we say this, we say self dot, right? So here also we have to say self dot. Okay, so I'm going to say self dot. So self dot, calculate prime. Fine, great. So this is self dot calculate prime. Okay, and this is going to return is var. So I'm going to say return is var. Okay, so this is the skeleton. Okay, we'll add the content slowly. Skeleton. Okay, based on my understanding, based on what I thought, I will create one init. In init, I'm going to add the number which I want to check if that number is prime or not. And is prime is what going to return us if the number is prime or not. Is prime, before returning, will perform the calculations. Okay, it will check if the number is prime or not. It will do the calculation. Okay, so I'm calling is prime. Okay, later when we come back, okay, we will work to complete the content in the calculate prime. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, I'm going to call main. Okay, I want this to, okay, so that if you call this file directly, only then the object will be created. If you do not call this file directly, then I won't be running or performing any operations. So I'm going to say if underscore name underscore equal to main underscore, right? That means if you are calling this file directly, this file name is P1. So if you are calling P1 directly, only then this will be called, right? So now I need to create the object. Okay, I'm going to say check prime equal to check prime. Okay, and I'll pass 10. Okay, now to check if that if the number is prime or not, I'm going to say if check prime dot is prime. No, directly we can call the variable, or you can directly we can call the variable is prime. We don't even have to pass it. Okay, but if you want, you can even check this, right? So I'm going to say here result equal to check prime dot is prime. That's it. Now if result is true, then print number is a prime number. Okay, else you say print number is not a prime. Great. So this is what I'm doing here. Okay. Now when you run it, okay, number is not a prime, right? 10 is not a prime. Okay, this is just giving some random answer. We have to fill in the, we have to write the logic here. Okay, so we'll assume that number is a prime. So to begin with, we'll say it is a prime. Then we'll do a for loop from I, okay, equal to, for I in range. So I'm going to say I equal to 2 to the number by 2. Self dot num by 2. That means, okay, or if you want, you can go up to one level up. Doesn't matter. Okay, so see, if the number is 10, okay, 10 by 2 will give us 5, isn't it? I want to check up to 5 if the number is divisible by it or not. Okay, so for I in range 2 comma self dot number by 2 plus 1. So I'm going to check if that number is divisible by 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, up to what? Up to number by 2. You can even say, you can remove this plus 1. Okay, so in this case of 10, if 10 is the input, you will get 2 comma 3 comma 4. That's it. Okay, see, you will get 2 to 5, but up to 5, isn't it? So it will check only 4 if the number is divisible by 2, 3 and 4, and this is enough, because if it is divisible by 2, we don't have to check for 5, right? If it is already divisible by 2, then it will definitely not be, it will definitely be divisible by by 5 also. So we are saying range, and we are, so range will generate values 2, 3, 4, and we will see if the number is not divisible by all of these, then it is not a prime. It is a prime, right? So I'm going to say if sorry, if self dot num modulo I. Okay, if this is 0, okay, if this is 0, that means this is definitely false. Your number is not a prime. And you can do break. You can, you don't have to continue any further. If it is divisible by 2, you stop there. Like for 10, 10 is divisible by 2. So you stop there. You don't have to check for 3. If it is not, let's say 15. 15 by 2 will be 7.5. So this will give us 7. So for 15, we will be saying, we'll check with 2, 3. Okay, 15 by 2 is, double division, integer division is 7, isn't it? So we will go up to 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for 15. Now 15 number is not divisible by 2. Then it will go and check 3. Yes, number is divisible by 3. Okay, modulo I is 0. If modulo I is, I is 0, that means it is divisible by I, or the 3 in this case. Then you will say is prime is false and return. That's it. You don't have to check for 4. Right? Once you found that it's not a prime, that is it. When you don't know, right, you can't find if it's prime or not, then you'll keep on doing it again and again and again. Okay, so break, that's it. Otherwise it's anyway true. Okay, now you see. Okay, 10 is definitely not a prime, but now if you make it 11, it is a prime, right? So 11 by 2 is 5. It will again, 11 will also be checked up to 4, 2, 3, 4. It will check with 2, not divisible. 3, not divisible. 4, not divisible. And that's when you stop. You don't have to check further. Okay. This is how you can create class, creates its member. Okay. And you can add methods to it. Now you see here, when you're adding this method, right, we have this self.num, self.is prime var, right? You don't have to pass the value to the function. It knows, it can easily access all the object level methods, will be able to access the object level variables. You don't have to pass the variables here. You don't have to pass any variable here. I hope this makes sense, everyone. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Now we will modify this to generate series of prime numbers, right? So I want to generate prime numbers from whatever 500 to 500, right? So here you can say Okay, start num and end num equal to 500 comma 1500, and in for loop you keep on passing. So for I in range st comma en plus 1. Okay, and I'm going to check. Okay, check prime. I'll pass I here, right? And if the result, if result, then you print what I. Otherwise, we don't have to print. We don't have to print I. This is to check, generate prime numbers, right? If the result is true, we will print it. If result is false, we will do nothing. We will not print it. Okay, what happened? Nothing is getting printed. So it is not getting printed because all these things we have put outside the for loop, right? We have to check for each and every value. We have to check for each and every value. Okay, so you have what? 503, 509. Okay, we have not given any space. Let's give some space and comma. So 503, 509, 521, 523. These are your numbers, okay, which are prime numbers between 500 and 1500. Okay, so we have just modified the same program to give us the list of prime numbers. Okay. Let's add one more thing. We have not added condition, right? What if I give a -2 or -3? Okay. So I'll add one more function here. And here I'm going to say def check valid, right? Check valid. I'm going to say, sorry, if self.num is less than, you can do whatever, right? You can do less than 2. Okay, I'll say print here, not a valid number to check. Okay, not a valid number to check. And in calculate prime, I can, it can return false, let's say. Return false, or you can, okay, we can add one more variable. Okay, self dot is valid equal to, we'll assume that it is true always, right? Then initialize, or you can initialize. Generally, we initialize false every time. Okay, and here I'm going to say number is not valid, and I'm going to say here self dot is valid. Okay, is prime, no, is valid, right? Is valid equal to false. Okay, else self dot is valid equal to true. Okay, now here before I do this, I can check. Okay, I can say self dot check valid. Okay, and now check if self dot is valid. So valid. Okay, if it is true, that's when you perform all these things. Else, you can say self is prime equal to false. Okay, so we just added an extra check to see if number is less than 0. Then you say no, you can't check for less than 0. I mean, see, this is just a demonstration, right? Based on your logic, based on what you want to do, you can of course change. Okay, make sense? Okay. So with that, we complete our class and objects topic. Okay. Tomorrow when we meet, we will continue, we'll talk about database. Okay. So we will learn what is database. Okay. Apart from Python. Okay. Apart from Python, what is database? So first couple of days, okay, or at least one day, we'll focus on database topic itself, what database is. Then second day, we will see how we can use Python to connect to the databases. Okay, we can connect, Python to create a database, to create table, create or insert a record, okay, delete a record. So all those things we will see day after tomorrow. So I need 2 to 3 days to talk about databases. Okay, very important topic. We will cover SQL as well as Python. Okay, so if we will be doing SQL for one day at least. Okay, yes, if you are not able to do for one day, we'll extend. We'll do second day also SQL. But just be with me. We'll talk about the SQL and the other work. Okay, so we'll end it here. I hope you understood the concepts of class and objects. Class and objects is the way the programming languages, okay, whether it's C, C++, Java, okay, not C. Basically, C is a procedural language. Okay, we don't implement object-oriented using C. So C++, Java, Python, C#. These are all your object-oriented programming language. Okay, everything is treated here as class and object. So when you develop your own code, you should also develop it use like class and objects. So class is a definite, in a crude way, it is a collection of variables and methods. Okay, but logically, if you see, okay, if you take any item, okay, or if you take any implementation logic, everything related to that is declared in class. So for example, here we are checking a prime. So the thing here is to check a prime. So all the methods, variables related to that is declared in a class. Okay, if it is in a class and when you have to call, you don't have to look any further. Okay, so in this case we created a class and we created an object here, and you can create multiple objects, isn't it? Not just one, you can create multiple. Okay, so for example, here I say STEN equal to 500, right? I can even say ST2 comma EN2 equal to 1 comma 300. ST3 comma EN3 equal to 50 comma 900. I can say ST4 comma EN4 equal to say 5,000 to 10,000. Okay, you can create multiple such values, and I can again generate 4 different loops. Okay, 2, 3, and 4. So in 4, I'll say ST4 EN4, ST3 EN3. Okay, object will remember, okay, for which object, what is the ST value, ST EN value, what is the num value, what is your isVar value, all those things are remembered. Okay, so we don't have to do the hard work. Okay, we just create the definition once and you start using it. Okay, so what I'll do before we do the second for loop, I'm going to say print. Okay, because we said end, right? So it's printing everything in single line. Okay, and next output slash n. Okay, and here I'll put one more slash. Okay, and you can copy and paste it everywhere. Oops, no, sorry, that's not the way. Yes. Okay. Now, when you run it, you will see 4 different outputs. So see here, 500 to 1500. Okay. This is your output, 2, 3, 4. This is your output between 5,000 and 10,000. These are the values between 5,000 and 10,000. These are all your prime numbers. Okay, so object is able to maintain the context. Okay, which variable should be related to which object. Okay, so that's the class is just the definition. The usage we do is through objects. So we use through objects. Okay, one of the most important topic, very important topic that we have done. Okay, we have done slow. Okay, we wanted you to learn these concepts. So please, if you have not practiced on Sunday, you practice today, tomorrow. Okay, and let me know if you have any questions. Then again, we will talk about next topic, which is your database. All good, everyone? Shall we end it here for today? Okay, we are midway. Okay, we have 15 or 14 more days to go. Okay, 3 more weeks. So please practice, ask me questions, and we'll see you. We'll see you in one day. Tomorrow we'll see. Okay, take care, guys. Bye, everyone. Take care.